Hey guys, Josh from Sportitude here. Today we're going to be talking about a new shoe, and the new shoe is the Brooks Glycerin 16. This little guy here. Just landed middle of the year 2018. There's a fair bit to talk about with this shoe. It's a little bit of a tweak in the midsole, a fair bit of a tweak in the upper, a lot to like about it. We'll talk about some comparisons between where it was in the Glycerin 15 from last season, and from there we'll see if we can give you some in-depth detail on whether it's going to be the right shoe for you and help you improve your running going forward. So first things first, when we're talking about the Glycerin 16, we need to talk about what foot type sits inside this shoe. So what we're looking at in store from a fitting perspective is we're looking for the foot type that has a slightly higher arch or borderline supinate. So when I say supinates, I'm talking about a foot type, a little model here, that has quite a visible higher arch, visibly a higher arch through this region through here, or as we come through our gait cycle, the foot type bunches in this arch and supinates as it goes through its gait cycle. So heel comes down, mid-starts phase, we're not collapsing in that arch, we're actually quite pitched as we transition through to that toe-off phase. So more often than not, we find supinators don't usually toe off their first met head, they usually toe off second and third. So it's really important that when you are a supinated / neutral foot type, it's like this little guy here, we don't put you into a shoe with a lot of arch support. It'll just chock you out too far to the lateral side. So there we go. That's if we're talking about a no device coming into play. If you are a pronated foot type where your foot does roll in and you have an orthotic to cater for that, then you can put your orthotic in the Glycerin 16 with plenty of success. I want to just touch on the widths of the shoes as well before we get cracking into what's happening. In the ladies, we've got your traditional 2A, which is a narrow fit, and they've gone to a B, and also a D width. In the men's, however, we've only got the two widths. We've got this little guy here, we've got a D, which is standard, and then it does come in the 2E as well. A couple of years ago, they were sort of entertaining or playing around with the B width in the men's. Obviously, globally didn't get the numbers, so they didn't continue with the B width in this specific shoe for the men. So first things first, I'm going to talk about the outsole configuration. So the Glycerin 16, and when you're talking about its comparative shoes like your Nimbus, your Wave Sky from Mizuno, your 1080 from New Balance, this little guy here has a more flexible toe-off region. So the reason being is, if I just hold the shoe upside down here, as I do, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 flex grooves after that braking phase, that mid-start cycle. So flex grooves, if I just bend the shoe here, see how that just gives the shoe a lot more flexibility on toe-off. However, with these horizontal flex grooves, they've still encapsulated the rubber just under or just before that first metatarsal region through here. So what that does is when and if you do slightly pronate off that big toe and toe-off cycle, you'll get a little bit of extra support by just purely encasing those outsoles through flex groove number 2 and 3 through there. It just gives a little bit more rigidity on that toe-off phase. So very flexible toe-off region for the Glycerin 16. Now, what it does is with those extra flex grooves, if I just tip it on its platform through here, see how the toe ever so slightly curls up as well. So when we're going from heel to mid and then from mid to toe off, the shoe rolls really easily off that forefoot. So there are a lot of other neutral running shoes in the market that sort of take a little bit of love and care to get you into that toe-off phase. This little fella here just rolls off a lot easier on that forefoot cycle. What I want to do is now just talk about the differences in the outsole from the 15 to the 16. So again, here's the 15 in my hand from last year. It's a ladies version. Holding up the ladies version Glycerin 16 here. So when we're talking about what's different in the outsole, it took me a good 30 to 45 seconds to really have a look and see if there was any differences. And to be honest with you, not much at all. All there is there's a little tweak in the outsole on this heel region through here. And when I say tweak, it's literally these little slits through here. That's the only thing they've changed. Forefoot, as you can see, we've got the same amount of flex grooves with the same encapsulated toe piece through here from 15 to 16. So they're giving that same amount of sort of slight rigidity on that toe-off phase. In terms of the compound rubber they're using, it's exactly the same. So outsole, I can tell you right now, it's 99.9% similar or the same to last year. Okay, midsole time. So we're talking stack height 10 millimeters, 32 heel, 22 forefoot. And that's both men's and women's. So some brands do like to tweak their engineering in relation to how much stack heights they have per gender. However, Brooks in the Glycerin 16 have kept the stack heights the same. So 10 millimeter offset. Now, cushioning system, we've got a new cushioning system called DNA Loft from Brooks. Now, initially, I can't tell you the actual component breakdowns to what is different from Super DNA to the DNA Loft, but I can tell you right now on the foot, for that first couple of runs, it is plusher underneath the foot. So when our foot hits the ground, you get a little bit more cushioning. However, how they've engineered this forefoot, you get a very responsive feel on that toe-off phase. So you want that cushioning in the region on that first point of impact. Now, whether that be heel strike or slightly mid-starts through this region through here, you get a nice soft cradled cushioning system. But as we come through to that toe-off phase, you don't want to be sinking through this region through here. And Brooks have ever so slightly just shaved the gradient down and to give you a nice responsive toe-off. So I do like the feel of this shoe underneath the foot. Consistency from contact point to that toe-off is very smooth. I've taken my 16 through a couple of runs now. I've taken them for a few different variance runs. I've gone for some longer, slower runs, and then some sort of varied tempo style runs where I'm kicking up the speed a little bit. And for me, I'm not breaking any records. I just like to see what it feels like underneath the foot when I do put a bit more force through that foot. And I can tell you right now, I do like it for both shorter and longer distance runs. In the past, Glycerins, 15s, I haven't really enjoyed them for shorter tempo runs, purely because I found the upper a little bit loose. But in terms of the cushioning system underneath the foot, really like it. Glycerin 16, tick, midsole, love it. Now, how they've sort of put some almost like concave and convex sort of designs on the lateral side of the shoe and then on the medial side of the shoe here. New Balance did this a couple of years ago with their sort of fresh foam series where it was really noticeable. In the Glycerin 16, it's not overly noticeable. So you see on the lateral side through here, you've got some concave sort of dimples essentially. And then as you come around to that medial side, you've got some convex sort of dimples as well. So essentially convex, when it compresses, it doesn't compress the whole way. When you take out some components to make it concave, when it compresses on the lateral side, it just gives a bit more cushioning. So it's a little tweak in their midsole, but I think it's a good tweak and it feels quite nice underneath the foot. Now let's talk about the upper of this shoe. So I'm going to start from the toe box, work my way through to the mid-starts phase, and then we'll talk about the heel counter. So the toe box, it's a little bit shallower. I love it. The previous version 15s, we've just found them to be, I personally just found it to be a little bit boxy through that forefoot. It was okay initially, but when you get to the last third of the life of the shoe, I just found it to become a little bit too voluminous for me and had a bit too much play, a bit too much toe room, and I want my foot to be nice and secure. So I still love the 15s, but the 16s, I can tell you right now, through that forefoot region, it's a bit shallower, gives you a little bit of a snugger fit. Now, coming back to this, what we call this mid-starts phase in the upper. So they have a welded construction. So bringing this close through here, you can see right from that medial strap through there as it comes over the shoe, and then we'll swing around to that lateral side, it goes down to the midsole through here as well. So essentially that's just giving the shoe extra strength through that mid-starts phase. So it's really important to keep your foot nice and stable in the mid-starts before you go through the toe off. So that's what that little welded strap does through there. Other feature I've always loved about the Glycerin is their collar. Again, they haven't sacrificed any padding through here. It's nice and plush. Very, very comfortable when you put your foot into this shoe. Your calcaneus sits nice and deep. Get a really lovely wrap around the back of your heel. It's one of the more comfortable shoes in the market in relation to the heel counter configuration. It's not the deepest shoe by any means. However, it just gives a really nice snug fit around the back. And obviously you've got that last little eyelet here, which all Brooks shoes come with. And for that matter, a lot of running shoe companies will make an extra eyelet at the back, just in case you need a little bit more security when you're lacing up your shoes to give you a bit more of a hold. So other features about the upper, we're talking a nice open breathable mesh through that forefoot, so still getting plenty of airflow through your foot, keep it nice and cool, reduce the amount of swelling that we get on those longer runs. Another thing I do like is it's ever so slightly a tighter woven top layer. So what that will give the shoe is a little bit more structure and integrity. So we just find in some brands, when you go for a lighter, really breathable upper, you do sacrifice a bit of life and support, and potentially we have had in the past where shoes can wear little holes in the forefoot. No one wants that. I can tell you right now, I'd be extremely surprised if this happens with the Glycerin 16s, any sort of unusual wear around that big toe. There we have it, guys, Brooks Glycerin 16. Guys, if you have got any questions on this shoe, please drop a comment in this video below. If you haven't already subscribed to our channel, please do hit the subscribe button. Be the first in, first served on all things running related. So there we have it. Until next time, happy running, and we'll see you soon.